Hello my little random YouTube family, I am back with another video, and yes, it's going to be witchcraft related. It's going to be another witch tips for beginner witches, I guess, but this time I'm going to be telling you what you shouldn't be doing when starting out in your craft, because a lot of baby witches do it thinking that they're experienced enough or that, they know what they're doing and, they did all their research, but the most research they've done was on TikTok or YouTube, and they didn't go to, actual websites, get books or whatever. So, yeah, that's gonna be the synopsis for this video. I actually did get a video recommendation from one of my viewers. I'm thinking about your recommendation, okay? I just have to figure out where I'm gonna go with it. But right now, this to me seems like the most important because I don't think it's talked about enough. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. First thing that I want to address as far as things not to do is don't try and do a love spell on somebody when you're first starting out. I mean, technically you really shouldn't be doing a love spell anyways in the craft. Unless you're already in a relationship and you just want to have that relationship prosper and flourish and be all nice. But the reason why I'm telling you not to exactly do love spells and basically love magic when you're first starting out is because that's taking away someone's free will. So an example that I can think of is if you've seen the movie The Craft, Sarah does this love spell on Chris and he becomes wildly obsessed with her and just would not stop obsessing over her. Came to her house while she was asleep, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, did nothing but think about her, and even tried to attain a sexual favor. We'll just put it that way. That's literally the main reason why you don't do love spells. Again, unless you're already in a relationship, and the only reason why you're doing a love spell is to strengthen the relationship, or if it's falling apart and you're both working on it together to fix it, but you're thinking that magic can help it further fix it, as well as what you're already doing. You have to already put in the work of trying to fix the relationship before the magic can do it for you. Because magic isn't always going to do something for you. You have to put in the work first. So, love spells are something you don't want to do because, again, it's taking away someone's free will and free of thinking. So, really, really, really bad idea. Don't do it. I can't tell you how many times I have talked with one of my friends about magic and they're like, well, I'm, kind of interested, and or they would ask me, can you do a love spell for me? And I'm like, are you already in a relationship? No, I want you to do a love spell to get somebody to like me. No. I am not going to do that for you. You have to put in the work, and if you want aid, I can give you a rose to give to the person, or you two can share an apple. Share an apple, cut the apple in half and give the other half to the person that you are in love with for a prosperous relationship. But that's the extent of what I'm willing to help you with as far as love goes. Just don't do it. It's bad. Just don't do it. Other practitioners may tell you different. I'm telling you from personal experience not to do it, because my dumbass decided to try and do a love spell on somebody who I was already in a relationship with, but they still became obsessed with me, even after we broke up. Like, they were so toxic, and I'm like, that love spell was not worth it. And I had to literally do a cord cutting spell to get them to leave me alone. So that, I also had to do like a banishing, just, I had to do different things, okay, to get them to finally to leave my ass alone because of that love spell. And sometimes the love spells will backfire and you won't even target the person that you're trying to target. The spell will just go off and do its own thing and target somebody you're not even interested in and maybe very abusive towards you, and all of a sudden you're in a relationship with that somebody. So please don't do it, okay? Don't. Another thing you should not do is blood magic. So what blood magic is, from what I understand so far of it, you have these people that are like wearing jars or vials of somebody else's blood, and that's not something you should be doing, because if I remember right, if my pregnancy brain will just like let me do what I need to do, if you are wearing the vial or jar of that person's blood, they are attached to you and you cannot let them go. Even if you like bury the jar or whatever. No. You have their blood. They are now your problem. You have to deal with them. Just, I haven't exactly done enough research on blood magic because I know personally I am not ready, even though I have been practicing witchcraft for a very long time. I don't even remember how long I've been practicing. So probably somewhere in my Q&A witchcraft edition. Right now, I don't have the mental capacity at the moment to remember. But what I do remember is blood magic is bad and you shouldn't do it. Because, again, if you have a vial or a jar of somebody else's blood on your person or at all, they are your problem. They could be toxic and you cannot get rid of them no matter what you do. So, just don't do it, because that's basically having their life in your hands. It's just not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Just don't try to attempt blood magic. Even if you do attempt it, don't do it so early when you're trying to get into the craft. That's not one of the first things you need to be doing and researching. That's later, much later into the craft that you need to do research on. Just don't start out with blood magic. Alright, take my word for it. Don't do it. I think this one is a big one that more practitioners need to be telling you baby witches, and that is trying to communicate with the dead. That's not something you should be like starting out with. It's trying to communicate with the dead. It can be very harmful because you don't know if you're talking to a poltergeist, an evil spirit, a demon, trickster. You don't know if you're actually talking to who you're trying to communicate with. You could be trying to communicate with your ancestors, and it turns out to be a sleep paralysis demon, or something else that's very harmful in the spirit world. And you're like, I thought that this was my ancestor that I was talking to. Why is my ancestor, harming me? I thought, they loved me and they wouldn't do that. It's because that's not your ancestor, honey. It's not. You're opening a portal that you have no idea how to close. So that's a tool that even non-witches love to use to communicate with the dead is a Ouija board. You don't know how to use a Ouija board properly. No wonder that you are having these hauntings. And no, I'm not going to fix it for you. Okay. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm getting a little heated or aggravated, but don't be using a Ouija board to communicate with the dead. There are other ways to communicate with the dead, and a Ouija board isn't it. Because again, that is a portal that you have no idea how to close, and you don't know what's going to come through that portal. Because it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be who you think it is. And you're going to be stuck with a malevolent spirit you don't know how to get rid of, and a portal that is still open, and spirits are still coming in and still attacking you in your space that you don't know how to close. So just, even if you're really, really experienced, stay away from Ouija boards. I've been practicing for years, and I refuse to go anywhere near a Ouija board. A friend of mine's like, one time was like, hey, you want to go to the cemetery at 3 a.m. and talk to spirits with a fucking Ouija board? And I said, fuck you, no. That's a bad idea. You're going to get yourself killed. No, don't do it. Alright? Please. I love you guys. I want you guys to be safe, okay? Just stay the fuck away from Ouija boards and do not communicate with the dead unless you know how. And how to know it's who you're actually talking to. That's not something a beginner witch needs to be doing. Okay? Alright? Cool. Alright, moving on. Now that I've calmed down from that, raising the dead. Necromancy is a real thing, and resurrecting the dead is also a real thing. Not something a beginner witch needs to be doing. Because you won't know how to do it properly, and you won't know how to put the dead back. Great example of a reason why you shouldn't be doing necromancy is, spoilers, by the way, is in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Sabrina is trying to bring her boyfriend Harvey's brother back from the dead because he was murdered, okay, by 2 witches in the mines where they work. She didn't know where his soul was. His soul was stuck in limbo because he was taken before his time. And so, basically, Harvey's brother was a zombie, pretty much. Very aggressive and ate human flesh. And so, she tried to go to limbo to get his soul back. Limbo, purgatory, whatever you want to call it. She didn't succeed. And Harvey had to end up killing Tommy. And necromancy does require a sacrifice, a living sacrifice. At least as far as I know, it has to be alive in order for the dead to be risen. So just don't do it. I don't personally know any necromancers. And if I did know a necromancer, I would love to have a conversation with them on how that is done, so I know what not to do if I ever decide to do it. But I don't think I'm going to be doing necromancy anytime soon, because I don't want to accidentally bring about the zombie apocalypse and an already existing pandemic. So, necromancy, don't do it. It's not fun. And I gave you reasons why. And if you still do it, again, just like with the communicating with the dead and opening that portal, that is your problem, and I'm not going to fix it for you. And pretty much every practitioner is probably going to tell you, you caused it, you deal with it. And, you know, even if they're like, okay, I'll help you, that's not helping you in the long run, because you caused the mess. They are fixing it for you, when they can just tell you what to do. Or you could, I don't know, do your research. But still, it's not something a beginner witch needs to be doing. Alright? Cool. Moving on. Alright, look. You, as a beginner witch, can work with deities. You cannot work with deities. Even as an experienced witch, you still work with deities, not work with deities, whatever. But one thing I will tell you, not to work with, especially speaking of which, is the Fae. If you don't know what the Fae is, how to put it shortly, because I might do a whole video on the Fae. So you know the fairies and goblins and gnomes and brownies and sprites that you see in fantasy movies and how they're all nice and whatnot? You know. No. That's the Fae, yes, but they're not nice at all. I mean, they can be nice. I think. I mean, I've never worked with the Fae or even reached out to the Fae, nor do I really want to. But they like to make you sign a contract if you don't know what you're doing. Even if I were to tell you what not to do as far as the Fae goes, that's still not something you need to be doing as a beginner, because you could still put yourself at risk. You and your family, you could be putting your whole entire bloodline at risk, because I've heard of a story of somebody whose ancestor decided to work with the Fae and accidentally, unknowingly, I guess, signed a contract or got like a bloodline curse. And now that whole family is cursed because of the Fae, because they didn't know what they were doing, and they probably did it when they were a beginner and just starting out. So don't do it. And if you get to a point where you feel like you can work with the Fae, don't say thank you. Don't tell them your name. I believe don't tell them no. Be very hospitable and very nice as possible, and do not disrespect them. That's all I can really remember right now. They'll try to leave you gifts. I call them contract signers. Like rocks, acorns, dead insects. And if you see one of these anywhere, it's probably from the Fae, and what you can do is you can pick it up, you can carry it away from your house, bury it, and say, I appreciate this gift, but I cannot accept. And I believe you can also tell them, it is not mine, it belongs to you. But I could be wrong. So that last part, research. But again, not something you should be doing as beginner witch. And if you're at a point, again, to where you feel like you can work with the Fae, or the Fae wants to work with you, and you're like, oh, I want to try it out, there you go. I kind of just saved your life there. But yeah, so just don't work with the Fae as a beginner. So, yeah. Look, I'm gonna be telling you guys a lot of don'ts in this video, so it might be a little longer than my first episode. But hexes, curses, jinxes, don't do it, because it could kill you. And it could kill your family if you don't know what you're doing. I did my very first hex a couple days ago. Obviously, I'm fine, baby's fine, mom's fine, dogs are fine. Fiance, debatable. But that is because I casted a circle, I did my protections, and I did everything I was supposed to before I got started. Plus, the people deserved it. Now, I'm not, look, I'm not above hexing. I'm really not. If they deserve it, and if they're continuing their shit, by all means hex, but that's not something you need to be doing starting out. Because again, it could kill you. So don't do it when you're first starting out. Like I said, I just recently did my first hex. It's a small hex, not really painful unless they lie, but they deserved it because they're continuing to lie and deceive people. And I wanted that to stop. So, yeah. don't do hexes, jinxes, or curses when you're first starting out in your craft. Okay? Because again, you could die. So could your whole family. I'm pretty sure you don't want that to happen. Another major beginner don't is voodoo and hoodoo. Don't do it. To me, that's a closed practice. Why is it a closed practice? Look at me. I'm white as a ghost. That did not come from my family. That did not come from my culture. It's not my culture to take. But that's not just the only reason why you shouldn't do it as a beginner. And that's not to say that I'm pretty sure there are some people who do practice voodoo and hoodoo that are my skin color. Okay, good luck with that. But I'm pretty sure most of you have read the story about the girl who tried to summon who she thought was Papa Legba, and it turned out to not be him. Read that story and then come back to me and ask me why voodoo and hoodoo are a bad idea. Because I'm pretty sure that is part of voodoo and hoodoo culture. Don't know much about it because again, not my place. But yeah, I digress. And I'm not telling you guys all of these things to not do completely, except for the voodoo hoodoo stuff and the Ouija board thing. But the reason why I am telling you not to do these things starting out, because you could get hurt. Your family could get hurt, and you literally are just starting out in your craft, so you don't have a clue as to what you are doing. Somebody else could also get hurt as well. It's not just you or your family you need to worry about. You need to worry about the people you're trying to affect. They could get hurt. They could die if you're not careful and if you don't know what you're doing and if you are not specific and clear on your intentions. That's why I tell you not to do these things. And this is going to be a series of me telling you guys some tips and tricks. Like the first episode was different protections you can do. This one is what not to do starting out. So, yeah. Voodoo, hoodoo, don't do it. And there is a reason for this video. So, yeah. One other thing, one last, last thing I would not recommend you immediately start out with is deity work. Yes, you can work with deities, and yes, you can choose not to, but don't do it when you're first starting out, because then you won't know how to figure out what is a trickster and what is the actual deity you're trying to work with. And deity work, it takes a lot of commitment. But do know that you aren't really gonna do it every day if you don't really choose to, or if you're like me and you're actually depresso espresso and you just don't have the motivation to give them an offering every day in their honor, which the deities that I work with are fortunately very understanding and understand that I really don't have a lot to give them, so the small things that I do, I think of them in my mind, and that is a form of an offering. If you do something small in their favor with their name in your mind and you're doing it for them in a matter of speaking, that is an offering and they will take it. Lord Apollo, I'll just randomly play music and have his candle lit sometimes, and sometimes I won't even have his candle lit. I'll just feel his presence in the room because I'm just oh, Apollo might like this song. So yeah, it's not really something I would recommend you do starting out though. Because like I said, it is a lot of work. You've got to get to know your deity, and they've got to get to know you. Just also remember, they have the power to say no to you, and you have the power to say no to them. Consent is key. And one thing to remember is, if the deity doesn't take no for an answer, is in love with you, and is wanting sexual favors from you, it's not that deity, because the actual deity would not want to do any of that. That is a trickster. The more you know. But again, not something I would recommend you start out with. So, well, that's it. That is the whole video. I hope you enjoyed my little tangents. Look, for real, you guys, I literally went on those tangents for a reason. I'm trying to educate you on real witchcraft, not the stuff you see on TV or, you know, in the media. Even though sometimes they do take from, like, actual practitioners, still don't solely base your opinions on witchcraft on the media and on TV, because the media and TV will tell you that we work with the devil. There are satanic witches, yes, but one thing that I would love for you guys to remember is that Lucifer, the devil, are not the same person. They're two totally different beings. Okay? Two totally different beings, alright? Get in. And also remember that you can be Christian and still do witchcraft. It's also not evil at all. But just take what I told you today in this video to heart and literally listen to what I'm telling you, because if you look on YouTube and you look at other practitioners, they'll probably have a video telling you also what not to do when you're starting out. And they may not even list the same things that I did, and they may list the same things that I did and list some things that I missed. But just take me seriously. That's all I ask. You may not take me seriously, but I know some of you will, because I do know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't be making this video otherwise. And it's not just convenient that it's October. I literally practice magic outside of October too. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, share if you want. I don't know what the next witchcraft related video is going to be, but I know a lot about witchcraft, so this might be turned into a witchcraft based channel. And if that's something you don't want to see, there's the door. It's my channel, and I will be taking recommendations from you guys on what you want to see. I will take that into consideration. But also do remember that I will be making videos on what I feel is also important at the time. Like right now, this video was more important than the recommendation that I got. Taking it into consideration, trying to put that into thought, but right now, telling you what not to do when you're first starting out is more important than the recommendation I did get. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe, stay yourself, and I will see you in the next video.